I'm going to show you how to thread a double needle and what you can do with it once you have it on your machine. So I've got a 2.5 double needle. So before I do anything, I want to go to the diamond menu and go into the set menu and tell the machine that I am using a twin needle. Touch it and then tell it what size you're using, 2.5. And then touch OK. What's really nice is that as you pick your stitches, everything is shown duplicated exactly how it's going to stitch when you have this threaded. I like that one, so let's go ahead and start there. First thing we're going to do is we are going to unthread the machine width of the thread you have in there now. Let's go ahead and take our regular needle out, put our double needle in, and I've got another spool of thread right here. Now, if you don't have a second spool, you could always wind some of the thread that you're using onto a bobbin and use the thread from the bobbin. But I'm going to use two colors because I really want my decorative stitches to show. Now, the reason to have this separated right now, or together, is because when we go over the silver arm and over the top, I'm going to stop right here. Inside this area, you're going to see a metal fin in there. I want you to take the threads and separate them in your hands. I'm going to just hold one in one and one in the other. And I'm going to put the one on one side. Actually, I need to kind of shift that just a hair. There we go. One on the right of the fin, one on the left. That means each thread will get its own tension. And then just go ahead and put the threads in your hand, thread the take-up lever, put it around the last guide. Now here's where you do need to thread this manually because the needle threader is not set up to thread a twin needle. So if you're having trouble threading the needles because you're so dependent on that needle threader, get one of those handheld needle threaders. If you have a Husqvarna Viking Serger, oftentimes they include a needle threader in those. Either buy another one or go get it right now so you can use it on your sewing machine. I always like to have two of them close by because my serger's over there and my sewing machine's over here, and then I always have it where I need it. So I've got the two threads threaded. I'm going to first go ahead and do I'll just go ahead and sew here. What it's done is it minimizes the width of my stitch so I don't ever go bigger than what my foot can accommodate. Shows me I have a 2.5 double needle in, and as I go ahead and stitch, I might start off stitching a little on the slow side just to make sure everything is properly threaded. You can see everything's moving smoothly through the machine. A lot of the utility stitches are actually kind of fun to use with a twin needle. You can use your selective thread cutter, no problem. And ta-da! Look how fun that is. So after you've stitched out all your decorative stitches, because I know you have, you might want to go back and stitch some of them with a twin needle. Now, if you put on a bigger twin needle, it will give you a different look than what a smaller twin needle will. Now, twin needles can also be used for pin tucks, for that double row of stitching you see on the hems of knit fabrics. There's lots of uses. Here's some other stitches I've been playing with a twin needle. Put some variegated thread in there. That will add a lot of dimension. Now, I mentioned that when you do a different size, here we go, we can even just kind of roll through a variety of these stitches. Ooh, that one's fun. I like that one. Kind of gives that chevron. Well, here, let's just stitch that because I don't think I've stitched that one before. Wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize I had that one. Again, this is why it's so important to stitch out all your decorative stitches, because you really get to see oh, look at that. That's so cool. What it looks like. So for example, let's go back to that stitch number 14, the one we kind of started with, kind of a serpentine stitch. If I go back into the settings and change the twin needle to, say, 4 millimeters and touch OK, you'll see that it spreads that out. See, it's not as cool as what it was when it actually kind of touched each other because it was closer. So even a further apart, you can use up to a 6.0 double needle on here. This will give those stitches almost just barely a little wiggle because your maximum stitch width is 7.0. So if you put a 6.0 double needle, you don't have much wiggle room there. Literally. All right, so if we go back in and switch it to a smaller size, let's do the 1.6. That's the smallest one available. It really overlaps those stitches nicely. I love that when I turn the machine off, if I am left a twin needle on the machine, it will pop up with a message that says, by the way, you still have that activated, and we'll narrow down the stitches. And so you do need to just go in when you're done and turn it off. Twin needle off and touch OK, and you'll be ready to stitch a regular stitch. So next thing I'm going to do is make sure I take this out immediately since I've turned off that safety option, and I'll put my regular needle back in the machine.